Good morning, Andre here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and hit that like button at the bottom. Some really cool Viking merchandise, t-shirts, art prints, my Society 6 link is also in the description below. The Helm of Terror, the Helm of Awe, the Shield of Terror, the Mask of Dread. All of these kind of sound like physical objects. And in one of the earliest mentions, that's exactly what it is. When Sigurd slew the dragon Fafnir, among his treasures, he found this mask.
I wore before the sons of men, in defence of my treasure. Amongst all, I alone was strong, I thought to myself, for I found no power a match for my own. And that's Fafnir, the dragon himself, in the Volsunga Saga, stanza 16.
So here we have this great dragon, attributing most of its power to this physical object. Now, in the rest of Europe, we found something similar. In Greek, the Greek Aegis, which was a shield primarily used by Zeus. And the shield had a depiction of a gorgon on.
Medusa, snakes everywhere. In both Greek and Norse mythology, we get this connection of the Aegishjalmur with serpents, paralyzing their victims before they strike. And we've got to remember that the dragon, like Fafnir, is essentially just a snake with wings.
Now, some dispute that the Greek Aegis was an animal skin, kind of worn over your garments, not a shield, which kind of makes sense as helmet originally meant covering. Now, whether it's a helmet, a shield, a cloak, we can all safely say this was based on a real piece of armor or clothing. But either way, however you look at it, it was a frightening symbol. I mean, you've got 8 forked tongues going in all directions, hitting you from everywhere. Even if you didn't know or understood what this symbol meant, it was a frightening scene on the battlefield.
And now for the Aegishjalmur that we all know. It's a 16th century golder stuff, akin to the Wegvisser that I covered in a previous video.
This time the symbol has definite roots in something earlier, whether that be a physical object or an even earlier symbol.
The Algus rune. Now I'll go into more detail on each individual rune in the future, but I believe this to be the symbolic origin of the Helmur. The Algus rune is basically a warning rune. It is there for protection, but it's more a protection as in don't come near me or else. The Algus rune was seen from the Bronze Age all the way through to the Viking Age, even after a bit. So it's a lot older than all the other references that we see on this rune. Then a little bit later on, we find bind runes. Now, bind runes was still proto-Viking, a little bit into the Viking Age as well. Even in a Golderbok, they talk about a 4-pronged version of this symbol. Most Germanic symbols aren't fixed. And you can easily see someone rather carving 4 prongs than 8 on a runestone. And then we move on to paper, which it was a lot easier doing curved lines and more prongs than on wood or stone. In the Golderbok version, it's very much linked to serpents, the power of serpents, this paralyzing fear coming from between your eyes, from your pineal gland, striking your foe before you actually physically fight him. There's even a simple spell for the Aegishjalmur. You make a helmet out of lead and you press it between your brows. Once again, kind of cementing the third eye pineal gland that strikes using the symbol. And then my version, not really that much different than the previous ones. However, I like the whole angular look of the Algus rune. I've incorporated that into mine. basically just because it's closer to the original and it's just the writing style. It's like doing curves or angular lines. It's like dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Besides it being an older symbol, more like a Bronze Age one, like the Elder Futhark, it's also linked to voodoo or hoodoo or African practices of chicken feet as a warning. I believe it to be more of a global symbol this way.
Sigil through the ages, or a piece of armor, or actually both. This symbol was designed to strike fear in the hearts of your enemies, totally dominating them mentally, paralyzing your victims before you go in for the kill.